Hello and welcome back to another Fly with Marco video. Today we're discussing how much it costs to get a private pilot's licence in the UK. We're going to go over the several different types of costs and then reveal what I paid to get my licence. So I'd really appreciate if you could subscribe to the channel, it really helps me. Right, let's get into it. Okay, so there are several types of costs, and the first and the biggest cost without a doubt are the flying lessons themselves, surprise, surprise. Now, it's important that you clarify with your flying school how they charge for the lessons. Do they charge for every hour the engine is running or for airborne time only? Now this can be the difference between spending £7,000 on your private pilot's licence and £15,000 plus. Okay, the second cost to think about are landing fees. What is a landing fee? A landing fee is a fee you pay every time you land the aircraft. Now, obviously when you're learning to fly, you'll do lots and lots of landings, so it's important that you factor these in. If you're learning from, say, an international airport, this is going to cost you a fair amount, whereas if you're learning from an airport within a Class G airspace, it may be a bit more affordable. Okay, so the third cost to think about is ground school. How many hours ground school are you going to need, and what does a flying school charge for that? And it's really important to take into account ground school. And ground school is a great thing to do when you turn up at the airfield and the weather's deteriorated, or for whatever reason you can't fly, and you can back up to a bit of ground school, and that will put you in better stead. Okay, next, point number 4, we have the exam fees. There are 9 theory exams plus 1 RT radio telephony exam to sit, so 10 in total, and you'll pay a fee for every time you sit the exam. Now, of course, if you need to resit that exam, you're going to pay the resit fee as well, so let's make sure we pass them first time. If you need help passing your exams, a really good app to use is PPL Tutor. Send me a message if you're struggling with that. Okay, so the fifth point to note are the one-off purchases. A lot of people tend to miss this out when factoring in how much it costs for them to obtain the private pilot's licence. But first of all, you need a medical. You'll either need a Class 1 or Class 2 medical. Class 2 just for recreational VFR flying, Class 1 if you want to go commercial. Now, Class 2 medical, I think I paid about £150, something along those lines for it. You'll also need all the books and the whiz wheel and the charts and all the things you'll need to navigate along your journey to become a private pilot's licence, and I believe that set is around £250. You may want to think about also buying your own headset. I know you can borrow one from the flying school, but it'd be nice to have your own headset. And again, they can range from £100 to £1,000 depending on what spec you go for. Lastly, when you've actually passed your skills tests, you'll send off all the paperwork to the CAA to get your licence, and this costs around £200. Okay, the last cost that a lot of people don't even think about are the costs that actually costs you to actually get to the airfield. So how long of a drive is the airfield from your house? Now, mine is only about 20 minutes from mine, so a 40-minute round journey. It used to cost me about £5 in diesel, so not too bad. And again, the parking fees, I think it works out about £1 or £2 per visit. But if you're travelling an hour each way to the airfield to learn how to fly, that can rack up pretty quickly, and it's important that you factor that into the overall costs. Okay, so you ready for the total figure? I paid £14,243 to obtain my private pilot's licence. Now, is that cheap or is that expensive? It's probably a bit on the higher end, to be honest, and here are a couple of reasons to tell you why that is and how maybe you can minimise that. Now, first of all, I must note that I obtained my licence in 2019. If you're watching this in 5 years' time, prices may have changed. Likewise, if you were lucky enough to pass your private pilot licence 10 years ago, I'm sure you paid dramatically less than what I paid for it. So another thing to note is you need a minimum of 45 hours flying to get your licence. Now, I did mine in 47 hours, but the average is between 50 and 60 hours. So the more hours it takes you to get your licence, the more it's going to cost you. So again, it comes back to being prepared and essentially to make sure you make the most out of every single lesson you've got in the air. Now lastly, as I alluded to in the first point I made in this video, the biggest cost is the hourly rate it costs you to fly. And that includes the aircraft and the instructor. Now, at the flying school where I learned to fly, this was quite a high rate because there were new Cessna 172s operating out of an international airport, and as a result they had increased costs which they had to pass on to me and to other students as well. So you can find a more affordable flying school that is definitely probably a third cheaper in terms of the hourly cost, which is dramatically going to reduce your total expenditure to somewhere below that £10,000 mark, and you'll be flying 40, 50-year-old setters and pipers, which are great for starting. So that's one way how you can do it on a budget. But yeah, I just thought I'd make a video to describe all the costs involved and be really honest and be really forthcoming with the figures. It will cost you at least £10,000 really, but flying's an amazing thing to get into, and if you're looking to get into it and you're also based in Leeds or around Yorkshire, please feel free to drop me a message and I can give you some lovely hints and tips. Before we go, I've got a question from Danny who says, do you always fly the same type of plane? The answer is kind of yes. I've got a share in Slingsby Firefly based in Sherburn, which I fly quite often, but I'm also looking to purchase another share and thinking of getting signed up on the club's PA28. So I hope that answers your question, Danny. So I really hope you've enjoyed watching this video, and again, please help me and subscribe to the channel. Thanks very much, enjoy your day, and I'll see you soon. Bye bye.